All right, we're live. Hello, everybody. This is Vandana Joshal from Lajja Forum, where we talk about women's empowerment. We talk about enabling women to fight their own battles, enabling women to, go pursue their dreams and achieve them. And, while we have been talking about all positive things in the month of July, we also have to, address the fact that there are some areas in a woman's life that women really don't talk about, and we believe that it's high time we talk about it. It's high time that we have an open debate, an open discussion about it, and it's high time we go ahead and do something about it. So what we're talking here is about domestic violence, and all of us know what it is, and yet nothing is being done in this area. How many women are really aware of the rights? How many women are aware of the legal help that they can seek? How many women are aware of the NGOs or other organizations who they can reach out to for help? Not many. And we in a bid to get some answers, in a bid to probably shed some more light and hopefully help as many women as possible, we're gathered here with some experts uh, who have seen this area, who have dealt with people in this area, and who will help us find answers. So let me not waste any further time, and let me start by introducing my guests. We have Dr. Sandhya Advani, who's the founder and principal consultant of poshsystems.com. She has over 30 years of experience as an admin and facilitated and facilities management professional with an experience in multiple domains. During her stint as an admin, I guess she realized she used to do these trainings on Posh. And during our conversations, she has told me that she realized that our discussions and our trainings in Posh are generally done in English. And when we talk about a workplace environment, we have to also think of all the other employees who are in an organization. Okay, there is some disturbance. Okay, so Dr. Sandhya has conducted POSH trainings for over 4,500 employees and vendor staff, and she has done trainings for vendor staff in the regional language. She's done trainings in Hindi. Is that right, Dr. Advani?
That's right, Vandana.
Yes. Yes, and through her company, she provides guidance and advice in setting up POSH infrastructure, managing POSH compliance, POSH consultation, training, and skill building, and POSH audit. And I think it is very important that all organizations set up a team which looks into this matter. We will find out a little bit more from her about POSH and what all the company needs to keep in mind. Then we have with us Jyoti Agrawal. She's the founder of Ma2 Mom. Ma2 Mom is a fast-growing community of more than 50K mothers across the world. She recently won the Community Influencer of the Year award by Aspiring She in 2020. And through Ma2 Mom, Jyoti has been trying to reach across to women across the world and talk to them about anything, whether it's family issues, medication, depression, distress, career guidance. She has done it all. Then we have with us Vayu Dwani, who's a storyteller and an ex-entrepreneur. She's here because she's a survivor, she's a fighter, she's somebody who has faced domestic violence, and she's here to share her story and guide women who probably are fearful about opening up about their stories. Then we have Advocate Mrs. Jalaja Nambiar. She's been practicing in Bombay High Court and Family Court, Mumbai and Thane. She deals mainly in family law, domestic violence, and family-related issues. Recently, the Family Court Bandra has adopted a new procedure for appointing independent lawyers for children whose parents are in litigation, and she has been appointed as the independent child lawyer in 3 matters. And I think that is amazing that there is somebody who represents children in litigation cases. Then we have our long-term friend, Colonel Rohit Mishra, who's the founder of Mission Fight Back. He served in the army for more than 22 years, and he started Mission Fight Back with, the aim of helping women learn self-defense, and probably use their own wits and presence of mind to save themselves in a tough situation. So that, my friends, are our esteemed panelists. So let us not waste any further time, and let me go right on to the questions. Jyoti, you have a large network of women and moms. Do women open up to you? Do women talk about this? Are they aware of what has to be done?
So
Jyoti.
first of all, Vandana, thank you very much for having me here. Laja always does commendable work. So thanks to Riddhi and you for having me here. This topic is like much needed right now because there's so many people facing it, I would say. I know I run a women community, but I would say there are both of them facing it. Right now, today we are addressing women. So I would like to say that as soon as lockdown started, there were so many members across, I would say, started writing stuff to me. And there was somebody who was 8 months pregnant. There was somebody, with other stuff. But the first thing they used to say, किसी को बताना मत, don't share it with anybody else, neither we want to share it with anybody else. So that was the thing which was like killing me inside. The first sentence was, please don't tell this to anybody. And there was somebody who was like 8 months pregnant, and there was somebody who delivered, and I was like, let me call you, at least speak to me. So they were like, you're not in the situation to even talk to you, we can just chat. And over the, we had 400, 500, 600, 700 messages, Vandana. And at last, she wrote to me, Jyoti, I'm done and I want to quit. I couldn't sleep the whole night, and I was just thinking that, God forbid she does anything to her. So I kept on typing, and next day morning 11 she sent me, yes, I've made up my mind, I'll fight it back, and send me details who to connect with and all that stuff. So yes, they don't know where to reach, they don't know how to cope up, they don't know should they open up, and they take one step ahead and then they take two step back. So it's very, very confusing state for them. This is what I would say, Vandana.
Which is very true, like just today we started this discussion, I think, on our group. We are talking about, Riddhi had shared, a story about, not a story, an incident about somebody who was abusing his daughter. And yeah, uh, with help and all of that, the mother went to the police station and all of that, and the person was let off with a warning. Now that is the fear that people have, कि छोड़ देंगे तो फिर बाद में मुझे और face करना पड़ेगा. So I think that is the fear which is stopping people from going ahead and complaining. Now that is when we talk, Jyoti, you're talking about cases which are at home. Dr. Sandhya Advani, I want to bring you in over here and ask you about cases of women being harassed at the workplace. And now why I'm bringing you in is because right now in this current situation, your home is your workplace. We are all working from home. So the immediate thought would be that if you're at home, how do you suffer from, how are you a victim of workplace harassment? But I'm sure there are more, like you said, there are dimensions to it. So can you tell us what exactly falls under workplace harassment and how you can tie it into the current work from home situation?
Okay. So sexual harassment has always been there. It's just that earlier women were not complaining, they kept quiet. Whenever they faced a problem, either they tolerated it because they needed the job, they didn't want other people to know about it, maybe they felt people will not believe in it, or they went away. They left the job and they went away. So that is how they were handling it. Now, after this Bhavari Devi incident and the Nirbhaya incident, which brought about changes in the law, the act has been passed, which was passed on the 9th of December. Now, in this, when we talk of sexual harassment, it requires three things. One, it should have a sexual undertone. Two, it should be connected with your workplace. And three, it should be unwelcome. So if a woman, does not mind it, like supposing somebody puts a hand on her shoulder and she doesn't mind it, then that will not amount to sexual harassment. However, if she doesn't like it and she's uncomfortable with, then she can definitely complain and this will fall under the caution. So this has been happening and the law has made it mandatory. So can you hear Madhu, please? The law has made it mandatory for all organizations with 10 plus employees to have an internal committee at the workplace. So that is one. So if a woman is facing a complaint, she can definitely approach the internal committee. Now, having said that, now once this work from home has started, we thought probably the women, the problems would have got less because now people are working from home, but surprisingly, they have increased. And why has it increased? Because a lot of times, the people are having video chats. There are calls which are happening at all vague hours. There are messages being sent. So earlier you were in that formal office atmosphere. Now that formal office atmosphere is not there. It's more of a personal atmosphere. So which leads people to trying to be very casual and pass some kind of remarks, send out Facebook requests whether they know the person or not. So this has been happening and it has increased. So organizations do need to take this into consideration and take steps accordingly.
Okay. Now, is there like how big should an organization be to have a posh a team? Does the organization have to compulsorily have a posh team, or how large does it have to be to have a setup like this?
See, POSH is applicable for all organizations. However, those with less than 10 employees, for them, the compliance is not mandatory. However, and for those who have more than 10 employees, the compliance is mandatory. If they do not follow it, there are heavy penalties. Like, for example, the first time offense, the penalty can be as high as 50,000 rupees. You repeat the same offense, the penalty can be double. And later on, if it's happening again and again, it can lead to cancellation of business license. So those are the kind of penalties. So it is a mandatory compliance, and every organization at the end of the year, the one who has more than 10 employees, they have to file an annual report. It is also included in the director's report, which goes to the registrar of companies.
Okay. So now that we were talking about how does a person decide that when I'm working from home, my boss is misbehaving with me, or my colleague is misbehaving with me? What comes under that purview now?
So in this, any kind of behavior, see, sexual harassment would include touch. Now here there is no touch as such. It includes sexually colored remarks. So supposing passing some, sex remark like, "Hey, you're looking sexy today." I mean, those are remarks which are not acceptable. Something about a woman's dress or something, some kind of a provocative remark. Some, maybe verbal or non-verbal conduct, like, you're staring, you're winking. I mean, those kind of things are not acceptable. And also, messaging at any odd hour with whether there is work, there is no work. So asking a person to stay back after the Zoom call, maybe have a chat, just an informal chat, passing remarks about the person's personal life, all these kind of things will fall under that. Even, a remark by a manager saying, "Oh, you've got kids playing behind you. I wonder how you'll be able to cope up with all this."
Yes.
You see, those kind of remarks would also come under sexual harassment.
Okay. So then if somebody wants to complain, you need proof that...
Yes. So the thing is, what I would advise is, in case if this is happening, so keep screenshots. If you have WhatsApp chats, preserve those. If you've got some remarks, where something has been said, whatever evidence you can gather the evidence, and then you lodge the complaint. Because when you are lodging the complaint, obviously, it cannot be one person's word against the other. So ideally, you should have some kind of evidence which you can showcase when you're filing the complaint.
Okay, so I hope everybody who's listening to this keeps this in mind. And these are small things, but very important things, which like Rohit always mentions, it's about your presence of mind. And unfortunately, the first reaction we have while it is flight, you don't really like, it's like a hit and run incident. If there is a car accident, you would rather, if you are the one who's driving, you would rather run away from the scene. If you are somebody who's been injured, you would rather focus on your injury than look at the car and the number plates. So all women and anybody else who's listening to this,
If I may
please
add
remember
something,
that.
if I may
Yes,
add
please,
something,
add.
when you file a complaint, you need to include the date of the event, the time of the event, where it happened, who was the respondent, what is the nature of relationship between the parties, and what exactly happened. So these are the 5, 6 things which are needed when you file a complaint. So a woman who's experiencing this needs to gather all this evidence and then submit the complaint.
Yes, absolutely. Uh, uh, Advocate Jalaja, when somebody comes to you, now we come back to domestic violence, and I believe also when there is a case of sexual harassment at workplace, I think they also would invariably end up with you, correct? So
Correct.
if somebody is coming to you with a complaint for talking about domestic violence, what what are the steps that a person should take now? Like today's incident where we're talking about that case of domestic violence, what are the steps the person has to follow?
See,
Please guide us.
basically what happens is domestic violence in urban area, okay, in the urban cities, are highly misused.
Yes.
Okay, it's highly misused. So what happens is, in the case of today's case, why the police has said usko warn karke chhod diya. Reason is he knows, he is in the police, he knows that this kind of complaints keep coming. And they can see earlier when this domestic act came, it was in 2005, and prior to that, it was more serious. And the police used to act upon it. Over a period of time, what has happened? The misuse became more high. So
Okay.
police was also reluctant. So what the police does is now is they are authorized by the Supreme Court to have a counseling session. They have a different forum over there with a lady police officer who will call both the parties. An FIR is not filed. FIR will be filed simultaneously, but both the parties have been called, explain to them what is it, and a warning is being given. Or if they can reconcile, or they can split. When like cases come to me, for a lady comes who tells me her husband is arrested, blah blah blah, they all do that. For a lawyer, it is very important to understand whether she is saying the truth. Just blindly telling, go to the police station, file a complaint, that actually ruins at times entire life of the family. What happens when you go to the police station? The police comes, then there is no scope of even reconciling. They have to split. So it is a lawyer or any of us in the panel to understand exactly really there is a violence or not. Now in today's case, I am not too sure how it is, what has happened. If she has gone back, she has gone back. Now she has a mother, has got a huge responsibility towards her daughter. She should not think it's a husband. Now she will forgive him. She should not forgive him for this act. This is a very serious act if this has happened. That was 6-year-old child. She's
True,
gone back.
true.
This is very serious. Even if he would have slapped her, I'm saying it is not very serious. Okay,
Okay.
that can be forgiven. I would say once in a while, or vice versa, whatsoever this is. But this has have been done to a child who is 6-year-old who doesn't even know what it is. Now, under what context or what has she told the mother? How did the mother get and all? We have to get into it. It's a good case for us to understand it really this thing has happened. And if this has happened, she should not forgive the father. Because what will happen? 6, 7 years, the child is going to grow up. You think that man is going to stop?
So what you're saying is, when a domestic, now let's keep aside the case that we were talking about earlier this morning. If there has been assault, domestic violence, we're talking of assault over here. If there has been assault of any kind, even a thappad, you're saying that the woman ignores the thappad the first time.
No.
What are you saying?
I don't say
Yes.
that. Don't
Yes. So we need.
I don't say that you avoid a thappad. He
Yes.
has to be warned. She has to be very strong enough to say there are many women who are very docile. They don't want to come out of the shell. They feel that is the usual, because they become the carriers. Their parents have doing that. They become the carriers. So when these girls come to me, ladies come to me, I tell them, yes, you need to complain. You need to bring him to the table to negotiation. First thing you need is whether are you going to part. I ask them that. Are you ready to part your terms or your relation with him? If there is a yes, then you should go ahead. If you're going to reconcile, you know what will happen? If you're going to the police station, that reconciliation will never happen. So if it is a woman who has to decide, and what will happen is you have to bring a lot of strength in that woman. You have to keep talking to that woman, take out the entire thing from her, whether there is any veracity in it, what is the truth, who is to be blamed, what it is. If there is a genuineness in what she's talking about, yes, the police help is very important. And ensure that the FIR is lodged, he is being brought to the police station, he is being questioned, or even put him behind bars. Then only he will learn a lesson. Otherwise, what will happen? They will forgive, it will go back, it goes on and on. Day yesterday, I got a call, last week, I got a call from one of my neighboring society. She spoke to me, she told me that she wants to meet me, she is in a very bad shape, her husband is harassing. I said, did you ever raise your hand? He said, नहीं आज तक मारा नहीं. I said, फिर problem क्या है? So she is saying that वो मेरे को हमेशा बोलता घर से बाहर निकल जाओ तुम घर से, तुम्हारा घर नहीं है. I said, ये तुम्हारा घर ही है, तुम्हारा रहने का अधिकार है. This is your place, that is your matrimonial home. You can stay, nobody can throw you out. Then the very next day, she again called me through her friend and we had a conference. So she's telling me that she recorded when he was threatening her or something. So the husband realized that she's recording it. So she's telling me that मुझे उसके बाद मैं सुबह उठी तो रिकॉर्डिंग कुछ भी नहीं था, मैं ऐसे लेटी थी, मुझे उसने क्या किया मुझे मालूम नहीं, मुझे अपना, she said, मेरे जान का परवाह. That's what she said. I said, if that is the case and if he's telling you, now you have to stand by yourself. What is he saying to get out of the house? What you can do? You tell him that अगर मैं घर से बाहर निकली, if I go out, I am in the road, the police will ask me in this COVID, why are you being at the road? He will come to your place. When he comes to the place, he will question him. If he questions, your half battle is won, I said. Are you ready to do that?
True.
You should stick, you stand, I said. I kept on encouraging her. I kept on telling her everything. At least for 1 or 2 hours, I spent my whole time to her. Now, she said,
Okay,
yes.
so yeah. So the solution here, or the steps, like we were saying, the steps here are, if somebody comes, if somebody is facing domestic violence, the first and foremost, like Rohit also always mentions, is stand up for yourself. Correct, Rohit?
Stand for yourself.
Stand up for yourself. Then the second step is you need to figure out whether you want to stay on in this relationship or you want to break away. If the breakaway is the solution that you're looking for, then you go to a lawyer. And then when you go to a lawyer, what is the next step that a person is supposed to do?
Yes. Once you're asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
See, when they come to me, if there is a case for divorce and if there is an harassment and all, we find very clearly, I'll ask them whether really you're going for a divorce. Now, battling in the court or being in the corridors of court is not good for anyone, especially when young girls come and they have got small children. Children coming to the court, what I suggest to them is, first of all, your financial status has to be strong enough. That means you should have a roof over your head from your husband. First of all, see the pocket of your husband also. You cannot claim beyond his pocket. See, what happens is they get all these notions from the newspaper, the court has given this one. First of all, see whether your husband can give. He cannot go beyond his pocket. And if he is not earning deliberately, he is an able body. So the court will compel him to earn for her to give him maintenance and for the children. So these are the advices I give, and I always said them, don't be in the court for a long period. If there is a settlement terms, amicable settlement, part your way with a mutual consent. And
okay,
that's the only solution to this. So that the children do not suffer. The children are the worst sufferers in this case. And they become the carriers. And they become the carriers. So there is always a situation where there is give and take. To get something, forgo something.
Okay. Rohit, I'll come to you. You have been, we have also been talking about cases that have come to you. And I remember you calling me up and asking whether there's somebody who can help out. And I think I connected the person to Advocate Jalaja only. Now, when you have seen people who have gone ahead and, filed complaints and all of that. After that, is the fear there? After that, what is the way a woman will feel safe?
Okay, so in most of the cases that Mission Fight Back has actually sorted out ourselves or with our partners, like there's this case which you and Mrs. Janja has been helping us out. There are a couple of things that actually come out. Like you've mentioned that a couple of times that we tell women to fight, but then for every one woman that fights, there are 10 who decide not to fight.
Yeah.
And most of the women who actually write to me, and I've already got a lot of messages today morning, the moment they came to know, okay, we're talking about domestic violence again, they say, how do we fight? Right. So, see, my field of expertise is absolutely different. I'm more on the ground person, right? It's only when I start training them about street survival and we start doing the psychometric and the complete holistic, it's only then that there's a complete transformation. But then for me,
Oh, Rohit, we lost you. We can't hear you. No, there's some problem with maybe your earphones. Maybe you want to take it off and try.
can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, yes. Slight disturbance, but we can hear you.
Okay, maybe these are the new ones that are bought, so it must be Chinese, I guess. Right?
All right. Yes.
So now, in fact, today, in case if you can excuse me from answering the questions, can I be on your side and keep asking questions instead because it's such an August
Please.
gathering? And I'll
Please.
actually, there are so many questions which ladies have asked me since morning and for the last 2-3 days, right? So the action part, let's just forget the action part today.
Okay.
Right? Let's get on to a more practical thing,
Yes.
right? Like,
Yes, Janja.
I have one thing for Rohit, since he is doing more of self-defense for the women and children. I think you will be a very good help for ladies who have who.
Okay, we lost her. Janja, I think we lost network. Is a problem over here.
in fact, at this point of stage,
Yes.
Most of the viewers might not actually know what constitutes domestic violence.
Yes, I was coming to that.
Yeah, are we talking about domestic violence only being a physical beating or some kind of
No.
a physical abuse? Yes, exactly. So that is what people need to understand here. Your viewers need to understand that domestic violence is not just a physical beating or a physical abuse. It involves everything right from psychological to sexual to verbal.
Yes.
So, in case if somebody is facing a psychological thing, how would you deal with it? In case if any of the panelists can take that on. And I'm so sorry, like I said, I'm on your side now. And
No.
there are a million questions on my mind, which I need that clarified.
Okay, so I think that is an answer that Jalja would have been able to give us. So in the meantime, when at the time that it takes Jalja to join us, let us go to Vayu Dhwani. Now, Vayu is somebody who has faced domestic violence. She's somebody who has fought it. She's somebody who's come through, and she's somebody who advocates the need for women to stand up for themselves and take necessary action. So why don't you tell us your side of the story and what you did?
Thank you for giving me this push specifically to Riddhi, because I would not be here if she would have not literally been there on the bandwagon behind me. So, like all the general topics that we've just discussed, well, it starts from the very start dot, that the time at the age where you cannot really differentiate or define what abuse really is the time I really started experiencing it. So, growing up into a very traditional, typical family, of a joint family, and having going through very restrictive patriarchal conditioning set up in my home, it was always an issue to really identify what really is normal for a girl to be in that same house compared to a boy. So, as I was growing up, I really did not know that my mother was constantly being harassed and was a victim to violence for a very long time, until I started really growing up and seeing things and observing them. And also, slightly kind of also getting bits and experiences of physical and little bit of verbal abuse myself. It was the time when the first time my father raised his hand on me, and later on it got really, really harsh and critical, where I could see a crazy amount of a lot of sounds in the house, and then things going really, really out of hand in front of me, is when it started drastically affecting me. So you could say, like Sir just rightly said, that there are different forms of abuses, and I just started literally questioning and conditioning myself to see through things and trying to figure out what I was exactly going through. I did not know how to define it or even tell anybody, but all I could definitely say was, like a couple of you were mentioning, it definitely affects the children there. You know, they are the carriers to things. So it was pretty much what was happening to me, because after the point of time, my mom was trying to shield me and my sibling. But then it just got a hand that it started coming over us, where from just beating, it started reaching out to using different objects to hit you. So, to give an example, just as simple as trying to have a conversation with my parents, my father would not like, and he would just get aggressive, or he would try to agitate me to get aggressive so that he would get a chance to literally come up and beat the crap out of me. And also probably using all kinds of things. So, the time when there was literally no reason to actually pick up a fight, I saw a shoe fling on my mom's face. And that is when I think that was the age where I literally could not really hold myself back. And I went there and I just tried to slap him back, because whenever I tried to have a conversation or ask him why does he do it, I never got an answer. So that is when I think that was like the whole the boiling pot was really going overboard, and I started reacting to things. So how do you really help yourself when you have no way out? You don't know how to talk to somebody who you know that the adults are not trying to control the situation. How would a child try to do that? And that was at a tender age, around 10 to 13 years old. So that was the time I really started realizing there is an issue here. And also specifically, it was beyond my imagination. What was happening in a very well settled, decent family. So like ma'am rightly said, in the urban setting, domestic violence is misused. But in an urban setting, for people, it's even harder to believe that there are such situations that can occur in an environment like that. They usually say that, okay, there are less educated people or lower economic backgrounds where they face abuse. But here it was a completely different case. And it was all behind closed doors that people would not even believe it, because my mom would just put up a smile and shield it through outside just to make sure that everything looks okay. Why? Because you come from such a reputed family. And when your own family belongs to the leading community leaders who's working for society and working towards social work for the community themselves, they could not really solve their own problems, you know. So it was like, oh, naak nahi chahti hai. So you have to always put your collar on and walk with pride. So
So
when
what did you
started
do?
going, so that's what. So it just went on for too long because I had nobody listening to me. To be honest, when you say that you need to speak up, I do have a couple of questions for all of you today. Why? Because there are quite a few actions which I believe there are women who are trying to take it. So initially, before me, I thought my mom was quite a coward or would not really raise her voice. It was only when I kind of became a rebellious teenager is when I really started questioning her that why you're not really fighting towards it. But it was only later on time when I realized she literally was suppressed from every different corner because she tried voicing it out, she tried fighting against it, and that is when she knew that it was harming her own children. So she just to have my future protected or having our safety, she kept quiet for a while. When you say that you should report it or speak to somebody who would kind of stand up, so as a woman, the biggest problem that I sincerely see everybody faces is after when they get married and when they go off to a patriarchal home. So when you're looking back to your matriarchal home and speaking to them, when you talk to your own parents that my husband is doing something like this to me and I'm having problem from my in-laws, how many of those people are supporting them? How many of those women are actually getting the support back when they go back to their homes after getting married? Because there's this typical social setting, even today I see that वो बोलते हैं ना कि शादी के बाद अभी बेटी पराई है. So you have to deal with it, adjust karo. Just typical soap drama that you see. I think I've just been through all of those scales in every different level. So we did try that. My mom probably left the house, I think more than 5 times to 4 times, taking us in her hand, even when we were literally small. And she had to literally even raise me on her own, in a way, in spite of having such a huge family. And people had no clue that she was physically suffering. And she had so many medical issues by that time that it got so critical that I've almost lost her more than 5 times by now. So,
all right. So,
sorry, I had to continue.
Yeah,
you can ask.
No. So that's what I'm saying. So here first, we need to, like Rohit said, we need to understand what comes under the quote unquote, what is domestic violence? What all comes under that? And Jalaja, I think you are the best person to tell us. Are we talking only physical violence? Are we talking mental harassment, emotional harassment? I think we didn't mention emotional. Emotional is also a big question, over here. So Jalaja, maybe you can tell us what all comes under this.
See, domestic violence is not physical at all. It is physical, but if it is emotional, it is economical, it is financial, it is even mental also. All these come. There could be cases where there is no physical harassment, but the mental trauma that one person goes, that becomes a problem. Here is the hitch we find when these people, ladies, go to the police station. The police officer said, "Kya madam? Kya ho gaya? Mara nahi na? Jao wapas."
But
police is
like I have a question here.
Yeah.
So, like
Yes.
you say, that before domestic violence, when it comes to physical, before that is the emotional and all different kinds of other variants. So, what is the most simplest form of domestic violence that you would address, or you would kind of give as a case study that should be reported as a domestic violence? What is that one simple thing or
See,
aspect that a woman is?
when the woman is being deprived of the basic maintenance, that is even the financial, that the husband does not take care of her, he does not give her a single money, he harasses her, he does harasses the children, and he put pressure on her to get money from her in-laws also. That also is a heavy domestic violence, because the domestic
Okay.
violence act is very clear that a roof over her head and maintenance is for her subsistence to survive is very important. So that comes under the domestic violence. It's not that it doesn't come. That also comes under the domestic violence. Then it goes like how a person, some people will give money, but the point, the way they harass, they abuse, abusive languages, filth, the dirty, then he beats her. He actually harasses her. These are the whole thing that comes in the domestic violence. But then as a lawyer, we don't only see domestic violence. See, I'll explain to you. We don't just see domestic violence. The first question I ask them, are you ready to live with them? Then you include this domestic violence in your divorce case, because in divorces we have 4 or 5 grounds. One is the cruelty, one is the uh, desertion, the other is the adultery, the fourth is the insanity or some other ailments. All the other ailments, mental ailments, the adultery and everything is defined because they are specific. Cruelty is not defined at all. It is very wide. All this will come into cruelty and the domestic violence also. This is how you make a case for the person, and then a very good case, because many a times you don't have any physical harassment. It's the mental torture that the woman undergoes.
If I may say
Okay.
something,
Yes.
if I may say
Yes,
something.
Dr. Sandhya. Yes.
You see, when you go to the court for a divorce and you're filing a divorce under the grounds of cruelty, what has been generally noticed is that the judge will say, okay, is there some physical cruelty? There's no physical cruelty. Have you gone and complained to the police? No. When you talk of mental cruelty, you talk of emotional cruelty. Many a times that has been treated as wear and tear of marriage.
Correct, you're right. No,
because of which you do not get a divorce, and
it's
then
not-
ultimately, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
it's not a one single liner. The judge will never ask you what is it. That is never a single liner. When you make a petition, it is the lawyer who has to sit with the client and understand her real issues. How she frames or makes a case for her, for the client. That is more important.
If I may
Suppose
say something,
it's, yeah, sure.
it has happened with me, and I hold a master's in law. And well, when the matter was taken up before the court, the judge said it's wear and tear of marriage. So then ultimately you need to decide what you want to do. Do you want to continue, or do you want to move out and start a life on your own? And I chose to start a life on my own.
You're right. You're right. See, wear and tear of a marriage is there. It is there. What happens in your case? Your spouse, respondent must have asked for restitution of conjugal rights.
No, that was not the case.
Fine. What
That was
I'm just saying,
Okay,
generally it happens. So what happens? One needs a marriage, the other needs a divorce. Now our courts across, okay, the lower level, these are the judges that come from a very different scenario. They all are coming from the interiors. They still have not been equipped or not well versed with. Very few judges you'll find, okay, fine, they really address the issues.
Okay,
What you can,
you
So
are
how do
you
we
are now
differentiate?
yes, you're probably scaring us now. What I want to know, let's come to some
don't worry,
aspects I
don't worry.
wanted to ask you. Okay, now this question I will be asking Jalaja and Dr. Sandhya, both of you. First, let me ask Jalaja. Now, if somebody goes and files for divorce, say separation, is physical abuse, mental abuse, all of that, and but she is not economically well off and she cannot get help from her family, as in neither the husband is helping and her parents also, like why you said the matriarchal family says
I
ki
was
nahi,
just going to
you
ask
have
you that.
to, yes, yeah, you have to handle your own
Because I
problems.
went through it. Like, so when I had to fight for
Yes,
that, it has been
exactly.
quite a
So
help
in
for
such
me,
a
health
case,
journey, in fact, for 4 years in the.
exactly. So in such a case, who the lawyer will obviously charge a fees. You to register your case and all of that, there is a fees involved. How is that fees collected if the woman herself is not capable of paying?
What happens is, depends. See, most of the time, the families also come along. So family support. There are cases which I had. The woman do not have. I have not taken a single file.
Okay,
I
that
have
is your
asked.
case. That is you. You're being, big over here.
Okay.
But what?
Otherwise there is a legal aid.
Yes,
There
that's
is
what
a
I'm
legal.
asking you.
There is a legal aid in all the courts, especially in the family court as well as in the high court. High court, you have
Okay,
good legal aid lawyers who will really help. So is the case with the lower court also, family court also. It is not
okay.
that they
So
don't have
how does
legal.
so how does a person reach out to these people?
See,
Reach out to lawyers like this.
people like us should spread it. So many people come to you, come to me also. Of course, whenever somebody
Okay,
comes to me, I help them in my own way. But somebody comes to you, you can always direct them. Go directly to the family court, Bandra or Thana. There is a moment you enter, there is a legal aid. You just ask any of the peon or anything, legal aid kidhar hai. They will help. Legal aid is there
all right,
all over. That is a
all right.
good help.
So that
But
is okay. Great. Hmm.
but then again, the quality of advocate. But then
Vandana,
what
I'd
happens?
like to add something.
Yes,
But
yes, Vayu.
the judges here, when there is a legal aid advocate, really looks into the matter.
Okay, interesting. Vayu, yes, you wanted to add?
So, like as Jalaja ma'am said, so I will just kind of actually come out with a very relevant example right from my very experience, so that women who are similarly going through this can kind of relate with it. So, again, coming to the most critical part of how I had to deal with this situation on the particular time when we had to take a call that we have to fight it, is when last breaking point, my mother was being choked in front of me to death, and I had to intervene. Obviously, not as strong as the male counterpart. I was beaten to a point where I had a critical cervical injury, and it led me to semi paralysis. And I was bedridden for months. So I did not even have the ability to go and fight for her or immediately take action in the court. But right after recovery, even trying to still go through it in the middle of my college days, when the incident really crossed overboard, I just took the courageous step to take my mother to the police station because that was it. Like, unke kaan ka parda phat gaya tha and whatnot. And still, I still did not believe the audacity that my mother's family had, or anybody for that matter, that people very good economic background are even judged when you walk into a police station. So how
Exactly.
do you deal with that situation?
Exactly.
Like, I'm from a very decent family, I'm standing there in front of the cops, and they just have this very puzzling face, and they actually rather address my father instead of me and my mom. And even when I'm standing alone, there are two women standing right there alone, and my father brings a party along with him, including my mother's brother and father, who is standing with my father instead of us.
See,
Just to, and that is the first time I saw him shivering.
see your answer
So how
now.
do you deal with that?
I'll explain to you. Years back, what you're saying was always the case. Over a period of years, things have changed drastically. Things have really changed drastically.
Okay.
When a woman enters a police station, she is being given a proper seat. She has been even addressed properly, taken care. I have clients who has gone at 2:30 in the night in the police station. There is a police station, and they have been looked after very well, and also returned back to her home safely. Things
Okay.
are drastic. Things are
But how
drastic.
do we let
I
the
would like to add something.
so
So
how do we
somebody,
change that impression?
there was
Sorry?
this lady who was thrown out of her house at the middle of the night during the pandemic. And the pandemic started, and she wanted to reach just her place back to Pune from Mumbai, and there was nobody who supported her. So she was like, she was staying somewhere, and she was every day trying, going to the, but nothing was helping her really.
See, what happens
Okay,
is
let's talk solutions over here. We know that there are problems. We know that there are some things. The society we live in, it needs to undergo a drastic change. So let's not talk about an utopian kind of a scenario. Let's talk about solutions. What can be done? Now, the question that I
I was
put,
really asking now, how do we
yes,
let women know that this is a possibility,
yes,
and how can we even
yes,
at least show them that there is a certain change, and how can they
yes,
actually fight for the rights and support?
yes. Yes, Rohit, you wanted to say something?
Okay, a couple of things. I've just made a few notes here. Now, the first thing is, if I was a woman, right, if I was a lady here in India, I would be very scared right now. You know why? Because Mrs. Jalja just said that the judges come from a certain background. So that means they're patriarchal. They have misogynistic mindset. So you already know which way they're going. That's what Dr. Sandhya also mentioned during her
no,
case,
no,
right?
no, 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 no.
I'm just coming to that. I have seen a few of these judges, and I know, when you sit down and have a drink with them, I know what kind of talks they, happen. So let's get on to that. Then we have the police. Now, if the judges are coming from a particular stock, you know where the police is coming from, right?
Absolutely.
Right? Okay. The police to population ratio in our country is so bad. My erstwhile state, UP, right? There, I think for the last 8 or 10 years, there's been no fresh police recruitment. So they're actually effectively running at a 45% strength. So I think statistically, there has to be one policeman for every 500 or something abroad, but in India it has to be 750. I think in India, the current situation is for every 4,000 or 5,000 people, you have one policeman. Now that is the reason why most of these are not interested in solving your domestic violence cases, because he's too busy, doing other things. And the other thing includes basically VIP duties and stuff like that, right? Then you have the quality of lawyers in the legal aid. You said, Mrs. Nambiar again made a mention of that. You might not really get the kind of services that you're looking for, right? Now, these three things, now, right from the judge to the police or to the kind of pro bono legal aid that I'm going to get, right? I am going to be so scared. So even if I want to take an action, I'll not be able to take any action.
No. That is
That is what I'm coming to. That is what I'm coming to.
that is
I'm not here to offer solution. I'm here to ask questions today because I'm
exactly your answer. I will tell you. See, what has happened is
the fourth one. Yeah, we still have one more participant left, which is the family, right? Which the moment, like I was just reading this particular case of this air hostess who was with Lufthansa a couple of years back, who committed suicide jumping from the roof of a terrace, and she was again that particular thing is one of the most posh colonies in Delhi. So Vayu Dhoni made a mention of family structures and state. I mean, I've dealt with a whole lot of social stratas. This is there everywhere. That's what I tell in most of the webinars and during my workshop. It's got nothing to do with the strata. The lower strata will always report, the upper strata will always try to brush it under the carpet. So that's it. So there again, this girl, who's working for Lufthansa, she kept going back to her parents, who was unfortunately a major general from the army. So when you can have that kind of an educated background, that kind of a defense background, and this girl keeps going back to her father saying, "Oh, this guy is violent and he's hitting me and stuff like that." They, in the final report after the girl died, they actually wrote, we knew the guy was violent. We always kept sending her back because, society and this and that and things like that. So basically, at this point of time, most of the, that is the reason why, like I said, for every woman who comes out, 9 do not come out.
Yes.
And even the one who comes out has to think 10 times, am I doing the right thing? Because right from the family to everybody will actually come to give her advice. The Indian Gyan, we're famous for the Gyan part.
Everybody's an advisor.
No, I would like to clear out a lot of doubts over here, what you have raised. First of all, I was answering to Dr. Sandhya's what her matter was, maybe why the judges viewed that way. But do you know now in the family court, there are every day 50 cases being filed for divorces, which means people are coming out. It is not that they are not coming out. They are totally coming out, whether it is Thane or wherever it is. 50
Yes.
cases a day, 50 cases a day.
Ma'am, but that
Imagine.
is, you're talking Mumbai. You come to UP, you go to Bihar, where the
See,
moment you
UP,
take divorce,
see, that is
policy.
still a very different area. What I'm saying is our country could not see. We are talking today of a different level. If you compare what to say, UP, Bihar, and all, Chhattisgarh, and all, we cannot reach out now. Yet people have to be educated. People are not coming there. This education is coming in the way. People are not educated. They don't know. Like you said, this is a stigma. That they're continuing to do that. Now, as far as the cases like what you said, what is the court and all? Trust me, the courts are pro woman. In fact, I have more men clients who tell me that, Madam, we are really at whose mercy should we live? They are in a very different position. It is pro woman because the maintenance.
If this is
I agree with ma'am, because when
yes,
she mentioned that domestic cases are misused is also because I literally, when I was sitting in the court, I have witnessed more examples around me where men are the one who are actually suffering. So I
so
don't
what
think
we
this is-
need so what we need to come out from here is the fact that we are saying that courts are pro women, pro cases of women are coming out and talking. So I think that is kind of heartening for us, that if we are saying that the law and the legal system is pro woman, then I think all you women who are suffering and not speaking up because you're scared, I think now is the time that you should pick up your courage and talk about it. Now
One minute,
when I
Your
one
first solution has already come out.
One
Right,
minute,
that's
Pardon,
what I wanted to bring out. So your first solution has already come out. What Mrs. Nambiar has said, so the courts are proven.
one more
Yes.
thing.
That's the first solution.
If a woman goes to the court for a maintenance for herself and the child, trust me, we as lawyers ensure that we bring out the entire income of her husband, and women have got literally 1 lakh also only for maintenance, besides the expenditure of the children and a roof over her. So it is not that they see in a very larger picture. Maintain and High Court also. And the moment if the husband does not pay and he goes to the High Court for challenging, first thing the High Court is, without even looking into it, pay your arrears. Pay
Okay,
your arrears.
that brings me to a second problem: police. What is it?
Police, I'll tell you what has happened with the police. Police is by and large is always misused by the superior people. You can't blame them. One call comes, they are out.
But what does a woman do in such a case? Who can she go to for help? We have been talking about NGOs. We have been talking about support, communities like Jyotis, like Lajja, where we try to, when women come to us and they ask us, there have been cases where women have come to us and said, we are facing harassment and, all of that. And who do we go to? I know we are frantic in the beginning. We don't know who to reach out to. We reach out to NGOs, we reach out to people. But is that enough help? Now, Jalaja, I'll come to you.
But then
let me go to.
Then they ask.
Yes.
Vandana, they always ask the question, give me somebody who's trustworthy जिसको हम phone कर सकते हैं. So that's always
Exactly.
a thought process in their mind कि because NGOs are doing their business and all that they say. So they always ask me, Jyoti, give me a trustworthy number. So I reach out to the warriors who have fought domestic violence and they have actually moved out, and that numbers I give them. See, this may be the right thing because these people have really gone through it, so they will be the right one to advise you. But there is one more thing I would like to add, Vandana. The reason why all this is happening is all of us. So a woman who's facing domestic violence goes to the friend, तो दोस्त बोलता है कि बच्चों के लिए you just compromise and take it. Then she tries to reach to her relatives. They say the same thing. कि कोई बात नहीं, शादी है निभा ले. Parents के पास जाती है, they again say the same thing. So anywhere, wherever she wants to reach, everyone advises her to live with it. So हमको किधर तो stand लेने के लिए हमें भी तो support करना पड़ेगा ना. We always say कि stand low, she should take her stand. But are we prepared in the society where we actually support her to take the stand is my question right now.
Absolutely important, and that is why we are having this discussion. And while we are trying to give out solutions, I think, like I said, there are some issues with the society which we have to start with. Be the change you want to see. So start with us first. Dr. Sandhya, I wanted to ask you, like how I asked Jalija, when somebody files a case against domestic violence, who pays the actual fees, the legal fees, and all of that. Similarly, when there is a workplace sexual harassment or any kind of harassment, and when it's concerned with the workplace, now what is the procedure there? Does the woman, when a woman goes and complains that her superior or her colleague has harassed her, what are the steps that she is taking over there? What does she have to do? What does she have to follow? And over there too, I assume that there will be some legal fees there. Who bears the fees?
Okay, a very good question, Vandana. So fortunately, there are no fees over here. That's the best part.
Brilliant.
So the woman
Good.
goes, she files a complaint. So the next step that the internal committee does is to forward the complaint to the respondent. Respondent is the person who has harassed her. So the complaint is forwarded to him. He goes through the complaint. He gets 10 days time to file a written reply. So once he files a written reply, a copy is also given to the complainant. She sort of goes through it. She sees what is the defense he has, raised, and she has witnesses, she has evidence. So all that she has submitted when the complaint has been filed. Similarly, respondent has submitted his evidence, his name, witnesses, and all those things. Now, once she has filed a complaint, say for example, if it's against the manager, now obviously she's going to face a problem when she's working with him, because he's not going to be very friendly. So she has the legal right to ask for interim relief. The relief that she can ask for is, one, she can ask for a transfer, she can ask for leave with pay. So the IC can grant her leave for up to 90 days, and this leave is over and above her regular leave that is available to her.
That's good.
She can ask for that. So one is a transfer, one is she can ask for leave, she can ask for work from home. She can also say that I don't want the manager to report on my performance. Like I had a case wherein the IC did not ask the manager to refrain from doing an appraisal. Obviously, he did the appraisal, he gave her a 0. You see, because he had filed a complaint against him. So in her actual appraisal included two parts. One part was from the manager, one part was her actual performance. The manager gave her a 0, but her actual performance was 130%, which means she had exceeded expectations. But because the manager gave her a 0, she lost out on 3 lakh rupees of bonus. So she has a right to say that I don't want the manager to do my appraisal. So these are some reliefs she can ask for. Now, in case if supposing the offense is such that it is not a very serious offense, and for example, somebody has sent her a naughty joke, and then the person is very sorry about it, and all say, I'm so sorry, but then I have done this mistake, I will not do it again, and all that stuff. And she says, okay, fine, I understand. So she can ask for the matter to be settled. So that is what is reconciliation. So if she can make give a letter in writing to IC saying that I don't mind if it is settled, provided he gives me an apology. So if then the man agrees and he gives a letter of apology, then the IC will treat that complaint as closed. The matter is closed because the settlement has happened. However, IC will refuse reconciliation in certain conditions. One, if money is the basis of reconciliation. For example, the person, say for example, who has sent you a joke says, listen, Vandan, I'm going to give you a 5,000 voucher of Amazon. Why don't you just withdraw the matter? So if IC gets to know, IC will not allow reconciliation because money is the basis of it. That's one. Second is, in case if the type of offense is a serious offense, if it's a grave offense, IC will not allow reconciliation. And third is, in case if the person has said he will give an apology and he has backed out from it, he has not done it, in that case the reconciliation fails and the IC will go ahead with the inquiry. So this is as far as reconciliation is concerned. Say for example, the woman says, I don't want to settle the matter, I want the inquiry to happen, he should not be doing it again. So in that case, the IC will conduct the inquiry. After the inquiry is done, there are options. One option is either the person is guilty or he is not guilty, or the third option is there is not enough of evidence. So if the person is found guilty, he is punished. If the person is not guilty, nothing is done. And in case if it is there is not enough of evidence, then also nothing is done. But and in case if there a complaint has been found to be false, if a woman, say for example, has filed a false complaint, then in that case punishment is awarded to the woman, because just like this act protects women, it's a double-edged sword. It does not mean that a woman can go ahead and file false complaints. So, in case if the person is found guilty, there are various punishments that are awarded under the act, and that's how it proceeds. So, the punishment can range from a letter of apology, warning from HR, loss of pay hike, loss of promotions, and in worst cases, termination from services. Also, it includes community services. So, these are the various punishments that are there. Also, if the man is found guilty, he has to pay compensation to the lady, to the victim. And this compensation is decided on the basis of various factors, like the mental trauma that the woman went through, what is the career designation of both the parties, did she have a career loss of career opportunities, whether and then this man, whether he can pay the money in lump sum or can he pay it in installments. So those factors are all considered, and that is how the case is terminated. And once,
Wow.
in case if either of the parties are not happy, then they can go into appeal.
That's interesting. That was very, very, very informative, and I think that has answered quite a few of cleared some of the cobwebs in my mind. Now, Rohit, this is something that I've asked you before also, but there are women who are asking us this question: how do we support women facing within the four walls of their house? Who should they connect first to?
Okay, so in case I'll again start with the question, if you don't mind. This question is direct towards Vayudhwani. Right? You said you saw your mom getting choked.
Yep.
Right. This is just for my own information, because we are into street survival. Do you really think at that point of time, maybe whether you or your mom knew a little bit of street survival tactics, you would have been able to come out of that situation?
I was just going to say that I wish I would have met you earlier. Because it's like usually I think that is mostly the breaking point which men usually take advantage of, is women do not know how to defend themselves, even verbally or physically. And most importantly, like you said, the presence of mind, because they're constantly conditioned to fear everything in front of them, and that is what they usually take advantage of. And I have definitely tried all my ways of fighting things right and out, even physically, and kind of trying to defend myself verbally. And I've even seen that when you kind of go overboard and break that wall of fear, is when you actually see that they've realized that now we're not afraid. They literally, it's like animal instinct, they smell your fear, they're going to take use, they're just going to make advantage of it. So like some of the women were just mentioning that on the comments here, that they can't even show their bruises, or they don't know how to speak about it. I think that's a very simple factor when you said that if I really knew how to fight it, but even if as a male counterpart is always going to be stronger in terms of physique and their strength, and when they're angry.
No, this is a fallacy. Everybody, yes, okay, we have men, we are physically stronger, but that does not necessarily mean that you're any weaker. And I'm not saying that. So there is, so this is exactly what we trade on. So see, Vandana, your answer has already been given by Vayudhwani. Now, in case if you have the confines of these four walls, and in case if you are facing any kind of a domestic violence, right, the first thing is, in case if you know a few moves, basic moves, because see, ultimately, the first line of resistance is you yourself. The lawyers and the judges come much, much later. The police also comes much later, if they come at all, that is. Right? So you have to be the first line of defense, because even if you're shouting at the top of your voice, your neighbor is most likely going to increase the volume of his television more than anything else, right? Because nobody really wants to get into any kind of a domestic, because whether you go to the police or whether you go to the neighbors. So let's say there is a neighbor who tries to come and intervene. most of the time the neighbors actually face a problem because the neighbors always, the woman is the one will be all battered and bruised, but the moment she opens the door, she's going to say, "Main fisal gayi, main gir gayi, ya hamare ghar ka mamla," and things like that, and that's where the neighbor is the one who actually ends up looking like a fool. So that is one, right? Now everybody in the RWAs, and we started this fight against the RWAs. Everybody's actually ended up in India making this into an excuse. Even if there is a woman who's actually genuinely wanting somebody to come and ring her doorbell and ask for help, everybody is like, "Inke ghar ka mamla hai." They can hear the child shout, but inke ghar ka mamla hai. Why can't the RWAs get together and say, okay, the moment we know that there is a man who abuses his wife, whether it's again the same thing, the entire this thing of domestic violence, physical, mental, economic, whatever, everybody gets to know. Everybody in the society gets to know. Why can't the RWAs actually take action against this particular man or this particular family as such? I think we need to get away with this. Inke ghar ka mamla, even the police has to get out of this.
Actually, somebody has actually commented. He's saying that while women are at law, can they ask for help? And he's spoken about, this is Anurag Chauhan who says about an initiative which was called the Bell Bajao.
Right.
A campaign which was started, yes.
Okay. So there is this friend of mine called Iti Rawat who runs an organization called Red Dot Organization, which is in Bangalore, which is now, trending. So what she started doing is any lady who's facing domestic violence, she just puts a red dot here, so that anybody coming in, she just shows the red dot, and people know, okay, there is a domestic violence happening in the house. So that is a silent way of actually telling somebody, okay, there is domestic violence against me. Can somebody come out to help? So whether it's the police or the NGO. So her NGO apparently doing fantastic work in Bangalore, and I think in this lockdown itself, she's been able to save about 65 cases. And this is the same case I referred to Iti in the morning when all of us were discussing. Now coming back to the four walls of the house. Like I said, it is the woman who has to find out. In case of the woman, she knows. See, self-defense or street survival or any such fancy names is all about your self-confidence. You might not know the Bruce Lee moves, but you surely know how to protect yourself because it's your animal instinct. And this, self-defense is an inherent thing. How is it that a mother can always, turn into a Devi the moment she has to save her child, but the moment in case it comes to her own thing, she cannot save herself? Because again, the societal pressure. So I think the first thing any woman who's wanting to fight has to turn a blinker, put on those blinkers and not look at the society. No mamas, no chachas, no tayas, and no chachis.
Because they're not going to come in the end of the day. They don't.
They just
one minute. It's not only that. I'll tell you, in the cases which I get also many a times, of course, after a long time they come back to us. What happens? Many cases I've seen in my building or anyone. Basically, they are financially dependent upon their husbands. Very important.
Yeah.
They are not at all economically.
I was coming to that.
Okay. The other thing is the men take advantage on that, because that person, the husband will be what? He must be a very anger issues he has. He cannot control his anger. He cannot control because whatever setback he has. Now he throws on the woman and he'll beat her also. Now this woman, she cries and all. The same evening, I have seen them going for shopping and coming back, and the next day she'll say, "वो प्यार भी बहुत करता है." What do you do?
Okay.
That is the time I tell them, if you do not have any self-respect, your husband is going to treat you like this. You have to stand for yourself. You cannot hold his hand and walk around and come back and say, "उसने मुझे ये dress दे दिया, गहने दे दिया." That is not the way. What happens? The children really suffer. Then when the child grows up, she will also...
You see, self-respect comes with how deep your pocket is. Like this woman, if she's getting patted up today and tomorrow she's going for shopping, right? It's better to shop and then get beaten rather than just getting beaten khali.
See, in that case, what happens with these kind of women, when the children, I'm telling, it's a living example I've seen. The children, these girls, when they grow, they actually tell the mother that you never had any respect. You never stood for yourself, and then they revolt against the father. That is the time the father keeps quiet.
No, but see, eventually we have to realize that children are watching. So they are growing up watching and they're observing. So that's the same issue. Like whatever you all discussed right now, I literally have kind of experienced every shade. So coming to that point again, I had a younger sibling who's a male. So as a boy who's watching all this, for him it's going to normalize eventually when he grows up, and that's the reason he's not standing up for it. So that's exactly what happened. At a point, he realized that
It
my
is
sister's getting beaten up. I don't want to get beaten up. I'm not
Exactly.
going to. He just probably would escape out of the situation. And tomorrow, if that happens, he's going to question you back, and he's also going to normalize the same factor. And similarly, like you said, you are dependent financially on your partner. But what for the cases where they are not dependent, or even dependent, and suddenly everything is taken away from them? So similarly, our own savings and everything was completely taken away because they knew we're going to fight against them and left on the street literally without our belongings. What do you do there?
See, that is the time the court, you have take a help of the courts and the lawyers and the police. Forget about the police, the lawyer, which I said, suppose in your case, for example, you know that your father is has a very good bank balance, and he can support his wife and his children. You would have definitely got a good relief. I'm telling you,
But
and they have been.
like I'm saying, on the reality check, ma'am, it was not easy because there it was not easier at all. It took 4 years to fight against it, and more importantly, because when I started going through this, I saw there were people with more critical situations where, when they are trying to fight it, everything was being countered and trying to be suppressed so that they were so that.
Okay, listen.
One minute. Interim reliefs are very, very easily sought. Even if you file a divorce case or a domestic or only maintenance, there is something known as interim application, which is always heard. Of course, after a few months, whatever it is, because there are procedures. But interim relief you always get. I cannot say that you don't get. Every court will give you.
Jalaja, I want to ask you something. If people, I know after this conversation, a lot of people are going to get, actually, we are already getting questions about people asking whether they can connect with you. So I hope we have your permission to share your numbers with them.
Sure.
Sandhya, there was one question which was particularly addressed to you. It says that recently a lady came to me. She was working with a top-notch company. I think this is the last question we'll take because we have overshot our time, but this is important. So she says that she was asked to initiate a project out of her work profile. Now, this lady still did the project, traveled abroad many times, and put the processes right. When her lady boss saw that she was getting all the good feedback at her appraisal, the lady boss said that this lady was not a good team player. How do you tackle such a situation? Now, this is a lady doing it to a lady, so this is also a kind of harassment. What can we do then?
Yeah, so what happens is, you see, the act talks about harassment. The victim is always a woman. So the name of the act is Sexual Harassment of Women at the Workplace, Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act. So the complainant necessarily has to be a woman, but the respondent or the harasser can be a male, it can be a female, it can be a transgender. Now, it will qualify under sexual harassment only if there is a sexual undertone. That is one. It is unwelcome. It is connected with the workplace. There are other secondary factors also, wherein you call that as a hostile environment. So this probably would come under the hostile environment, like the person is trying to take away the credit. But then in such a case, those are presumptions that when you see a hostile environment, those are presumptions that there could be sexual harassment. But in case if there is no sexual harassment, it will fall under the code of conduct, and this lady is advised to go and speak to HR about this so that action can be taken.
All right.
But
I hope
one minute. But in Domestic Violence Act, it is always against the men. Now it's slightly changed. It is not against women. But unfortunately, when the men troubles a woman, okay, this man, mother and the sister also will trouble the woman.
Yes.
Yeah, so it starts with the mother-in-law usually. So that's
mother-in-law, sister-in-law. So what happens is now it's like amendment has come towards it. But you can't directly give it to a woman, against a woman. It's a protection of women against domestic violence.
All right. This has been a very, very, very
with you one-to-one on this one.
Sure.
Yes, this has been a very charged and a very informative session. Yes, there are questions still. There are still a lot of unanswered questions, and I'm sure that there are, there will be still questions coming our way. So maybe, I don't know, on behalf of Lajja, I think we should continue with another, part 2 of this discussion soon. And I think Jyoti, on behalf of Lajja, I'm saying this, we should all get together, you with your network and your forum, and Lajja with our network. I think we people should all come together and do something about this. And unless we women stand up for ourselves and our sisters, I don't think I can't think of a better person than that. And Rohit, please continue doing the great work that you're doing. Yes, Jyoti, you're saying?
I'm saying the change begins from us. So all 6 of us should, pledge today that when we see or we witness anybody facing domestic violence, we have to support. And obviously, all the listeners who are listening to us should think over this, that when a girl takes a step and comes back, the parent mourn more than the daughter, and that is why she feels कि कुछ crime करके आ गई है, वापस आ गई है. So instead, she would have faced it, and she would have died, or she would have gone in some depression. She's come back strong. So welcome her, and be nice to her, and don't do that, and don't be so sad that it's a failed marriage. It happens. It's life, and something new can come ahead to her. ये सबसे जरूरी बात है इंडियन सोसाइटी को एक्सेप्ट करने
के. But 1 minute, it's basically women are the biggest enemies of women. So we have to break
We want
that.
to change that.
Yes,
we want to change that.
We have
Yes.
to change that, saying that women are a friend of her woman, not an enemy.
Absolutely. Dr. Sandhya?
Yeah, I just want to say, we have been talking about cure. Now, I just want to share something that once, you are a woman, you ensure that you have a good education. 2, it is very, very important a woman to be financially independent. If you're financially independent, you will not have to tolerate all this nonsense from your partner.
Absolutely.
And you will have the ability to walk away and start your life on your own. Why do you have to suffer for such a long time? You don't need to.
Absolutely.
Should not drag you.
Absolutely.
Even if you get married, maybe you have kids, you can't work, but keep building up your skills so that you are well aware. If you decide to walk out and take up a job, you are well equipped to take up a job. Very,
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is something that Lajja and I think Ma to Mom, we keep talking about how it is important for women to develop their skills, become better versions of themselves. And this is what we have all been working for. Vayu Dhoni, closing any, you want to add something? And my heart goes out to you. You have been a true fighter, and it's amazing to see that smile on your face. So much love to you, dear.
Thank you. So most importantly, I wanted to definitely say this to all the women, be it married or unmarried. Most importantly, it's all that, your entire life depends on you. So whatever solutions we give, irrespective, एक चीज वही fact होती है कि जो pain आप go through करे, whatever you're going through, nobody's going to be able to relate to it 100% apart from yourself. So you need to take that stand first. And most importantly, remember, if the wounds and any battle is worth, battling, if you know that there's always a greener side to, on the other side, but unless you don't take that step, it's not going to happen. And you need to understand when is the right time to do that, because remember, if you have children, they are watching, they have scars they carry. Like I carry a wound with me till today, proudly, but you have to choose whether you want to live with a scar as a weapon for yourself and use it for a better productive life, or you want to carry it in such a way that you will repent till the end of your life and also for your children's future. So never damage that. Remember that whenever you have to go through something like this.
Absolutely.
I have to tell you something. Don't carry that scar. Just throw that scar off. Don't.
No, so I've already thrown it out.
That is
okay.
This was something it actually reminded me, because when my story was published on Humans with Bobby, it was the first time I actually took the step to courageously come out of it, because honestly, even I was afraid before. I was fearing
much love to you.
There was a lot of women who came up to me and said this. They're like, how do you manage your scars? I'm like, I don't need to manage them. They actually are helping me live through it now.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Rohit, as the only man who was in this panel, any closing words from you?
Simple. Like you always say, love yourself, fight back, repeat. Love yourself, fight back, repeat. Keep doing it till the time you win.
Great. Thank you so much. You have all been wonderful panelists, and I'm sorry to any of the viewers if we have not been able to answer any specific question. We have tried our best. This is a topic which is very close to all our hearts, something that we see, but not often can we do anything about it. So this is our attempt, a feeble attempt, but an attempt nonetheless, to try and make a difference, to try and bring about a change. So let's continue doing the great work that we are doing, all of us, and let's meet again sometime soon
Sure.
with more questions, more answers. And with that, I end this session. Thank you
And
so much to the
Thank
lovely
you.
panelists.
Thank you and Riddhi
Bye.
for
Nice meeting.
putting up such
Nice
an amazing.
meeting all.
Thank
And,
you.
most
Thank
importantly,
you.
Lavanya has some amazing work to keep doing it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You have put up the show very well, Vandana. Very well.
Thank you
conducted.
so much. Thank you. Thank you. All right, then. Good night,
Ma'am,
folks. And
Dr. Sandhya, very informative messages you have given. Very informative.
yes.
so much.
The lawyer had the last word. Our lawyer had the last word. All right. Good night, then.
Thank you
Take
so
care,
much.
all of you. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Good night.